Well, in the run-up to the election, there were a lot of flaws in the process, and we kept drawing attention to them. And it's like the Electoral Commission was adamant to our call, but on election day, we saw exactly what happened. This is the most incompetent election we've had. I mean, everything about this election does not reach the standard that Ghana's Electoral Commission, has attained for itself. Ghana's Electoral Commission is held in high esteem as one of the best electoral commissions. Unfortunately, this election, she can't even get the results right. The declaration is all over the place.
Mr. President, I saw your press conference where you rejected the result. So with this rejection, what are you going to do to make your case to the people of Ghana? Since you said they voted for you, how are you going to convince them that you won the election?
Well, we know we did, and we are currently doing a forensic audit of all the constituencies. First, to establish what happened there, and then secondly, to reconfirm the figures that we have. Because this case might end up in court, I don't know. I cannot mention anything for now, but we're doing an audit, and based on that, we'll take whatever decision we need to take. But I think that the incompetence the EC has shown, it will be useful for us to do a forensic audit of the EC's own systems and the numbers to come to what the final number for the EC is. Because as of now, I don't know what number they're going to gazette.
But Mr. President, what is your reaction to the African Union poll observer mission that came out saying that the elections were transparent, credible, and that most people were not prevented from voting? The ECOWAS poll observer mission led by Madam Johnson Sirleaf said the same thing, that it was peaceful and transparent. So what do you say to these prominent African organizations that monitored the poll, pretty much giving a stamp of approval to the elections?
Normally, when you have an observer mission like that, you need to wait and see their final report, because often they give the report up to the point of counting. And it's true, I mean, the whole day was peaceful. People went about, voting without any problems, and the queues were orderly. And so they'll say all that. And there were a few instances of people caught with pre-printed ballot sheets. I mean, the video evidence is there. Normally, their final report will capture the collation process. And so this report does not capture the collation process. And a lot went wrong with the collation process.
Mr. President, 4 years ago, when you lost the election, you handed over peacefully. I was here in Accra when you held a news conference that you had called then opposition leader Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to concede. People are saying you have proven that you are a true Democrat. They said, why are you not doing the same thing now?
In the interest of the more than 6 million people who voted for me, I must uphold our democracy and hold our Electoral Commission to higher standards and hold this government to a higher standard in terms of our democracy. I mean, the way they've conducted this election, the government, President Akufo-Addo, and the Electoral Commission, is a dent to our democratic credentials as a government. And so in my principles as a Democrat, I can't be seen to be sweeping it under the carpet and just letting it go. I think that we must bring closure to this by seeing exactly, where the issues are. And I mean, if an independent audit is done by the EC, we bring somebody in to crunch the numbers, do an independent audit. If I lost, why not? I mean, I'll be the first to concede and walk away. But as long as that is not done, and I know that there was a deliberate attempt to subvert the will of the people in favor of the incumbent, it will be wrong for me in terms of our democratic practices to just leave it, because we will not learn the lessons of this election. I think that we must learn the lessons of this election so that we don't repeat it in the future.
Mr. President, talking about lessons learned, some Ghanaians are suggesting, when you listen to the radio, you watch TVs, some Ghanaians are suggesting that you have proven to be a peace-loving man and that the election is over. You should just concede bring the country together so we can work out our differences from now onwards. What do you tell them?
Let me make one point clear. I'm not going to do anything that jeopardizes the peace of this country. So I'm peace loving. I'm not going to incite people to go, destroy things and do anything. I wouldn't do that. I'm peace loving, but I think that we've reached a point in our democracy where we need to establish the principles of our democracy and make sure that we uphold them at all times. Nana Addo, in his period in office, has shown that he's not willing to abide by democratic principles.
Why do you say that?
I mean, a lot of the things he's done over the last 4 years, show clearly that he does not believe in, democracy. His misuse of the military and the security services and national security to threaten journalists and, just create a general atmosphere, that is, unpleasant to our democratic principles is something that I do not agree with. And if my principled objection to a very flawed election and to the circumstances surrounding the environment surrounding the election, will make us re-establish our democratic foundations and create a better foundation for the future, I'm willing to go that route.
You have a lot of friends, heads of state, top officials everywhere. Since this election, have they reached out to you, and what is the conversation with them about how the elections went?
Many of them have called me and asked me, what is happening. And I've explained my side to them. And they've listened to me, understandingly. And of course, the question they always ask me, so what are your next steps? Yeah. I can't determine those next steps alone. I led a political party. And so we need to take that decision together. And so I normally tell them that we're in the process of establishing exactly what our case is against what went on. And at the appropriate time, we will put that out.
So, Mr. President, what is your relationship with the current president? Because I saw you at the peace signing days before the election. You guys were chatting jovially. What would you say is the current relationship between you and the current president?
Well, I haven't spoken to him or seen him since the peace pact we signed. Yeah, so I wouldn't know how he feels towards me. But for me, he's the incumbent president. Yeah, and I don't have any animosity against him.
So, Mr. President, what will be your message to the people of Ghana based on what you have seen, what you have gleaned, the evidence that you have seen, and the independent inquiry that you and your party seek?
Our electoral rules give us 72 hours within which to declare results. The first thing I noticed was wrong was this Electoral Commission came out and said that they were going to declare results within 24 hours. And I cautioned them, and I said, no. If you look at the collation process and what goes into it, you need to do a thorough and accurate job of crunching the numbers. And so don't set yourself a 24-hour, a deadline, because it gives us 72 hours. It gives us enough time to check and cross-check. And you must not sacrifice accuracy and thoroughness, on the altar of speed to declare results. And that's why they've made all these mistakes.
Mr. President, your final words to the people of Ghana, West Africa, and to the entire world.
My final word is that democracy is our best guarantee for unleashing the creative potential of our nations, because it creates the environment for people to be able to participate in how they are governed. And we need to take it seriously and make sure that we get the tenets of our constitutional rule and democracy right. When presidents start to use the military and the security services to oppress their people, we shouldn't think that they are oppressing just their political opponents, but they are oppressing the whole nation, because if a citizen is oppressed, it comes to our collective oppression.